What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today's video is brought to you by popular demand. We are going to look at moving to Alberta from Ontario in 2021. Everything you need to know. Well, not everything, but a lot of things you should know. What's happening, guys? My name is Kyle Dillman. Welcome to the channel. This is Living in Alberta. On this channel, guys, we break down everything related to moving to or living in the entire Edmonton, Red Deer, Calgary area. So if you want to see more videos like this one, guys, hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you're notified every time I put out a new video. And guys, as much as I do love making these videos, I am a licensed realtor in the province of Alberta. So if you need any help with your real estate needs, use this information showing up on the screen right now. Reach out to me any way you like. All right, for this video, we are going to look at the Edmonton, Red Deer, Calgary area, more commonly referred to as the Edmonton-Calgary corridor. It has 80% of Alberta's population living here, guys, so this is where most of the action happens. Obviously, there are some other great places to live in Alberta. There's some other cities like Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, Grand Prairie, but I'm only going to speak to what I know. I've only lived in this area. I've lived here since I was 19 and I do all of my business in this area. So I'm going to stay in my lane and speak to what I know. So let's get into it. Let's start this off by talking about the cost of living in Alberta. Now, I don't know how you guys afford things in Ontario. The price of real estate out there is absolutely ridiculous.
And a man in my position can't afford to be made to look ridiculous.
And then you add things like land transfer tax on top of that. Man, you got to make a lot of money to afford a house out there. My wife and I, together, we make a pretty decent living. We have a pretty nice acreage here in Alberta. And I don't even know if we could afford a house in Ontario, to be honest with you. Now, I know things out in Ontario, real estate is going crazy right now. A lot of the times, homes are selling for way over asking price. They're no conditions, they're selling on the same day. So I wish I was a realtor out there. It'd be super easy to sell a home right now. But I mean, that makes it really hard for one to even win negotiations and get into a home. And two, you have to be able to afford a home in the first place out there because real estate prices are so high. So let's take a quick look at real estate prices here in the Edmonton, Red Deer, Calgary corridor. Median home price in Edmonton is $420,000 right now, which is super affordable. Red Deer is at $355,000, and Calgary, which is the most expensive market in Alberta, is at about $516,000 right now in 2021. Now, generally speaking, guys, and obviously this is dependent on price range, the property, many different factors, but Alberta is more of a balanced market. Things are usually selling for under asking price. And the current days on market right now in Edmonton, Calgary is just over 30 days. And in Red Deer, it's actually over 40 days. So it's not as stressful when you go to buy a home here. You can have conditions, property inspections, finances. If there's something majorly wrong with the house, you can back out of the deal or you can go back at the seller and negotiate that off asking price. But again, guys, this is property specific. Some homes do sell on the same day. Some homes do sell for over asking price. But most of the time, it's a lot less stressful when you want to buy a home here. You do have a little more time to figure things out, get your conditions in order, get your inspections and finances, and usually you're going to pay under asking price. One thing you guys are going to love about buying a home here is there is no land transfer tax in Alberta. Alberta and Saskatchewan are the only two provinces that don't have it.
Dude.
Heaven forbid you're actually buying a home in Toronto. You're paying land transfer tax to the province of Ontario, and then you're paying land transfer tax to the city of Toronto as well. Now, I know there's some first-time home buyer rebates out there, But man, that can add up to a lot of money when you really break it down. So out here in Alberta, you'll be happy to know that there is no land transfer tax when you buy a home. So let's quickly touch on some tax information, guys. I know this stuff is a little bit boring, but it's, it can save you a lot of money. Alberta only charges GST. There is no provincial sales tax here. So it's just 5% GST. There is no harmonized sales tax like out in Ontario. I don't even know why the government calls that. I don't know, maybe they're just trying to make you feel a little bit less depressed with that extra money you have to pay. But here in Alberta, it is just 5% GST. Alberta also has the largest personal tax exemption at $19,300 and something. Ontario's is $12,000, so that is a nice benefit when you're moving to Alberta. And I'll throw up our provincial income tax rates here on the screen so you guys can kind of get an idea of what it's like to live here. Depending on where you fall in there, sometimes it's a little better. Certain situations, it might be a little worse. Alberta also has some really good tax benefits for small business owners. So overall, when moving to Alberta, you're gonna make out a little better when it comes to your taxes. Another really nice thing about moving to Alberta, guys, is that you can apply for Alberta healthcare the day you get here and have coverage. I know in Ontario, you have to live there for 3 months before you can get health coverage there. In Alberta, it starts from day one. So you are covered right from the beginning. All right, let's talk a little bit about Alberta's economy. Now, I'm sure you guys are aware that we are a huge oil and gas province, so very prone to cycles in the oil and gas industry. When that economy is doing well, in my opinion, Alberta is one of the best provinces to live when you look at the ability to find a job, the cost of living, the ability to earn a high income. And when oil and gas prices drop, you're going to see that unemployment rate go up. Now, even when the oil and gas prices are in a recession, it's still one of the biggest employers in Alberta. Some other major employers in the province are Alberta Health Services. Agriculture is a big one, construction and renovation. The closer you get down to Calgary and the mountains, we're looking at a lot of tourism as well. And then government jobs and things like that in Edmonton, as well as industrial and manufacturing. So very reliant on the oil and gas industry. In my opinion, Alberta's economy could be a little more diversified, but hey, it is what it is. And just want you guys to understand that when you're thinking about moving here. All right, let's talk a little bit about the weather. Now, it's pretty comparable. I mean, you guys are in Canada. You guys have 4 seasons just like we do here. I will say that the winters here are probably going to be a little bit more colder, a little bit more harsh. Now, I've heard from, and I've talked to friends from Ontario, they say that you don't notice the cold as much here at the same temperatures because it's drier and it's not as humid. But let's face it, no matter how you cut it and no matter what way you look at it, minus 30 is minus 30, minus 40 is even worse. So it's just freaking cold no matter what. So winters in Ontario, I'm probably gonna have to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're going to be a little bit milder here than in Alberta. Now, depending on where you live, Red Deer, Edmonton, pretty similar winters. Calgary is slightly milder. Now, I say slightly because it's still really cold there. You're gonna still see those minus 30, minus 40 degree temperatures, but in the springtime when things start melting, you could be in Edmonton or Calgary, or Edmonton and Red Deer, there'll still be a significant amount of snow. And a lot of the times you head down to Calgary and the snow is pretty much gone. Calgary also has the benefit of being close to the mountains. So you really get those Chinooks rolling in, which is those warm winds rolling off the Pacific Ocean, coming over the mountains and, gathering, losing moisture and warming up as they come into Calgary. You can see the temperatures go from minus 25 to plus 5, plus 10 in a single day. So pretty crazy stuff. And in no Leonardo DiCaprio, it is not global warming. It's called a Chinook. I will also add this in about Alberta, guys. It is the sunniest province in the country. So Calgary is actually the #1 sunniest city averaging about 333 days of sun. Edmonton is the second at 325-ish days of sun. And Red Deer is right at 324 days of sun. So despite the colder, longer winters, it is sunnier, and a lot of people, that can help with that seasonal depression and just make it a little bit more bearable. All right, let's talk about the differences between the 3 cities. Maybe it'll make it a little easier for you guys to make a decision on where you want to live. Let's start off by talking about Calgary. And if you're looking for that bigger metropolitan feel here in Alberta, Calgary's probably going to be your best bet. Maybe you're moving here from Toronto or you live in Vancouver, although it's not even going to come close to comparing to those two cities. But here in Alberta, it's going to be your best option. Calgary, in my opinion, has the best downtown scene. So if you like that busy downtown scene with lots of restaurants, bars, and shops you can go to, Calgary definitely wins in that area. There is a really cool avenue called 8th Ave, also known as Stephen Avenue. They shut it down for certain parts of the night where vehicles can't drive down, so you can walk down the street from bars to shops to restaurants. It's a really cool scene down there, and I'll throw up some B-roll so you guys can have a look here. And just a little farther south from there is 17th Avenue. Now, they don't shut it down for vehicles and things like that, but it is a huge avenue full of restaurants, bars, and shops. And something that's cool about being down there is it's right close to the Saddle Dome. So Calgary has the Calgary Flames, which is a National Hockey League team, and it also has the Calgary Stampeders, which is a CFL team, Canadian Football League team. But if the Flames make the playoffs and they win a few games, which really doesn't happen very often, the 17th Ave becomes what's called the Red Mile. It's just a sea of red jerseys, and it becomes party central, and it's an awesome time down there. So hopefully, if you move to Calgary, hopefully the Flames make the playoffs, but I'm not going to make any promises, and you got to check it out down there. Now, some other advantages of living in Calgary is that it's only about an hour away from the mountains. It's tucked right in the foothills, so it really is a beautiful city. In my opinion, out of the three cities, it's definitely by far the most pretty city. The most beautiful city. God, I hate all those words. Lots of things to do in Calgary. They have the Calgary Zoo, which is a huge attraction down there. Callaway Park is awesome for the kids as well. So if you're looking for, a beautiful city, you like scenery, you like to be close to the mountains, Calgary's probably your best bet. Has a little bit slightly milder winters as well. Now let's shift the focus over to Edmonton. And when you first come into Edmonton, you're kind of like, this is kind of like your typical big city, kind of bland, nothing special about it. None of the great scenery like Calgary has. But once you get down to the river valley, that's when you're like, oh my God. It is beautiful down there, guys. It's actually the largest stretch of urban parkland in North America. There are so many different kinds of walking trails, parks, dog parks, bike trails. It's just unbelievable. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with Edmonton's River Valley because my old boxing coach used to make me run stairs down there. And man, I still have nightmares about those stairs, but really beautiful River Valley, guys. You're gonna be really surprised once you get closer to the downtown area. A lot of the times you hear people say that Edmonton is more blue collar, Calgary is more white collar with more corporate head offices, which I believe is true. I think that's an accurate assessment. But even though Edmonton may be more blue collar, I think it has a little more culture than Calgary does. If you are into music, Edmonton has an awesome, legit music scene. And if music and fine arts is your thing, theater, in my opinion, Edmonton gets a nod as well. Edmonton is awesome for all of those things. It's also known as Festival City. So fringe festivals, folk festivals, street performer festivals, there's just stuff going on all the time in Edmonton. Now, Edmonton has the same professional sports teams or leagues as Calgary does. We have the Edmonton Eskimos for the CFL and the Edmonton Oilers for the National Hockey League. And I don't know if you guys are aware or not, but Jesus actually plays for the Oilers. He's disguised as Connor McDavid. Sometimes people call him Connor McJesus. So if you're moving here from Ontario, I don't know, you're probably cheering for Toronto or Ottawa or, God forbid, Montreal. But when you do get here, you should probably cheer for the Oilers. Now let's take a look at Red Deer, which is right in the middle of Edmonton and Calgary. Now, it's obviously significantly smaller than those two bigger cities. Just over 100,000 people. Those big guys are up around 1.5 million. But by Alberta standards, it's actually still a big city. So Red Deer is ranked third largest in the province, might be fourth now. Lethbridge and Red Deer kind of go back and forth. So either way, third or fourth largest city in Alberta. Now, maybe you're not really into living in those bigger metropolitan centers, but you still want to be in a city that has a lot of the staples when it comes to shopping, like Costco, Best Buy, Home Depot, Lowe's, everything you can really think of, minus some of the unique shopping that you're gonna find in those bigger cities. Red Deer might just be a perfect fit for you. And I know when you're driving by on Highway 2, it doesn't really look like much, but Red Deer is actually a really beautiful city as well. It has a river valley as well. There's tons of beautiful walking trails and parks that go all along and all throughout the entire city. It also is a really good centralized location, guys. So like I mentioned, Edmonton and Calgary are just over an hour to the north or the south. The mountains are about 2.5 hours away. You can be in Banff. It's about 15-20 minutes away from Sylvan Lake, which is one of the biggest tourist destinations in central Alberta, one of the best lakes in Alberta for that matter. And to add to that, it's the most affordable city when it comes to cost of living and price of houses. So the average price of a detached home right now in Red Deer is $355,000, so super affordable. It also has Red Deer College, so there are some post-secondary options here. So really great option, guys, if that big town feel is more your vibe, more your jam. Red Deer is probably your best option. It might be the best fit for you. Now, if you have any questions about either of these cities, guys, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'd love to answer any of the questions you might have. I've been helping so many people relocate here from Ontario. I've been getting so many questions about what it's like to live in Alberta. So I thought this would be a great time to make this video. So I really hope you enjoyed it, guys. Again, any questions whatsoever, give me a shout anywhere, like phone, text, email. And if you do like the video, guys, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and click that notification bell. And guys, I am a licensed realtor in the province. So if you have any questions whatsoever about your real estate needs, use this information, reach out to me anyway. All right, guys, enjoy some B-roll, and I will see you in the next video.